thank you for passing up on the lake and the park and the bike trip and the whatever else you could have been doing so that you could be here with us today joining us. It's exciting to have you all here, and I know we've got a bundle of people out on our GoToMeeting site as well. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, the Region 9 Healthcare Coalition, as we cover at all of our meetings, our mission statement is to prepare for, respond to, and recover from crisis using all available resources to provide patient care at the appropriate level and in the most efficient manner. That really strives the work that we do, the partnerships that we build, the communities that we build, and the way that we interact together. So that's where we keep going back to as our foundation in the work that we do, and we're glad that you're part of it. So as our meeting today, just some general housekeeping things that we have. Again, if there were a reason that we had to leave the building, the emergency exits are pretty clearly located and you can see them from where you're at, straight back out the door that we came in. And we've got 2 exits on each side of the building, north and south. So that's the quickest way out. If we do have to evacuate, let's please meet as a group on the north parking lot out here. We can collaborate, make sure we've got everybody. We can confirm with our sign-in sheet because I'm sure that everybody here signed in on their way in the door, so we have an accurate count. And if you haven't, please sign in on your way back out the door. So we do have Wi-Fi here. The password is Endurus with a capital E if you need to have access to that. We do realize that many of you are very extremely busy, and the only time you have to eat and drink is when you're in a meeting or on your way to a meeting because you're just bouncing around. So food and drink is allowed. Feel free to do that. Hopefully everybody's got their cell phones on silent out of respect to the presenters and those trying to hear the meeting. Bathrooms are located right out the door. You walk right past them on the way in. We like to be slave drivers, and we have very limited quality time with you all. So we didn't build a break into our meeting, so please feel free. If you need to get up and stretch, you need to go out and get a drink, use the restroom, please feel free to do that. Don't feel confined to your seat because we're talking. So please feel free to do that. We are on GoToMeeting, so that we have 15, 20, 19, I'm not sure what the accurate count is right now, but we've got a bundle of people out in the region that participate under GoToMeeting. So if you're a presenter and you get questions from the audience, I'll do my best to get to them with a mic, but if I can't, it's important to repeat the questions from the audience here because those out on GoToMeeting cannot hear it, and we try to be receptive to their needs as well. If you're on the GoTo site, just please remember if you have questions, you can chat those in the chat box. Travis has access to that and we'll monitor that and we'll relay your questions to the presenters. Got the sign-in sheet. Presentations, the meeting recording, GoToMeeting will actually be recorded and it will all be available on our HCC website in about 2 weeks. So you can have access to that information in the near future, or you can share that with those that you choose to. So kind of a quick rundown of our meeting safety logistics concepts. Wanted to update you all on a few things that are upcoming. We have scheduled, as you can see, September 11th, September 13th, and September 27th, WATRAC trainings at hospitals located here in Spokane. The trainings are available and open to any public healthcare organization that has access to WATRAC or may want to use WATRAC as part of your situational awareness, alerting capabilities. So those trainings are there. They're open to those that want to attend, and we encourage you to do so. The information has been in our newsletter. It's also available on the website, our website, if you need to have access to that to get registered, signed up, and ready to go. Pretty exciting stuff. It's a great system, and the more we learn how to use it, the better we're finding it works for us as we integrate into our activities. A couple other activities that are going on before we move on to the next slide. A little story I was sharing with Travis on my way in here. Well, first I got to tell you this short story to tell you the second short story. 25 years ago, I got my first set of glasses. I've had those glasses for 25 years. I went to put them on Sunday night and they broke in half. So I'm glassless at this point in time, which means, just so you know, I can read this, but your faces are a little cloudy out there. So if I call you Travis and you're Rita, I apologize. So with that in mind, I'm driving here from Davenport. And yes, Sarah? So I'm driving here from Davenport to this meeting. I'm driving along Highway 2, coming in, looking at the blue sky like I told you about. And I see these birds flying in the sky up in front of me. And I think that's kind of cool. There's 5 or 6 of them, and they're swooping and they're swirling, and I'm thinking that's kind of cool. And then all of a sudden, one of them's on fire because there's smoke coming out the back end. And I'm watching this bird with smoke coming out the back end, and I'm thinking, that is just weird. And while I'm lost in this daze, believe it or not, right in front of me above Highway 2 flew another bird right in front of me with smoke coming out the back. And that's the closest I've ever been to a thunderbird. And after I regained my composure and realized that texting really wasn't the threat here, uh, it was the aha moment that, oh my God, this is Skyfest weekend, taking place this weekend out at Fairchild Air Force Base. Over 100,000 people are going to participate. Great event. If you haven't been there, you might want to consider it. It does potentially have impacts on healthcare. There's a lot of people out there. Very hot temperatures are expected in the 90s. So keep that in mind as you're going to this weekend with your healthcare facilities. We will also be using the WATRAC system with our DMCC opening command center so that we can continue to share situational awareness and the impacts that it might be having on our healthcare system. So hospitals can monitor that. They can see if they're starting to see patients as a result of that. They can share information. So it's a great event, and we're starting to learn how to use the systems that we have to keep updated on information as those events take place. So it's pretty exciting on both events. The other thing that we have coming up here in the near future in August, as you've probably heard on the news, is an eclipse that's coming on the 21st of August. So it's a great opportunity for those that want to travel along the path line. And I'm sure you can see that right there, the path that the eclipse is going to take. So I don't know that it's going to have major impacts here in Spokane. It travels through Central Oregon. I know a lot of people are going to be gathering along those lines. So there's going to be a lot of mass gatherings. There's going to be a lot of potentials for things to happen. I know that a lot of healthcare systems along those boundaries are preparing and stepping up just in case something were to happen. But just an awareness that it is taking place if you haven't heard. And there's also a great resource on the Asper Tracy website that they have put together, HPP has put together with fact sheets, all sorts of information about attending, visualizing, viewing an eclipse, eye protection, all the different types of things. I just skimmed through it, and there's a lot of stuff in here. So if you have an interest, it's on the Asper Tracy website. And if you don't know what that is, actually you Google Asper Tracy, it'll take you to it. So great information, not only pertinent to the eclipse, but probably pertinent to a lot of things that we do. And if you haven't been to the Asper Tracy website, it's got a lot of information around Healthcare Coalition work. So it's a great place to go. It's a great place to learn from. Did you click me, Travis? There it goes. So another thing that the Healthcare Coalition has been involved in is the Region 9 Healthcare Coalition case study that has taken place. Has been an identification in Spokane of patient delays, patient care, I guess gaps that were identified due to overcrowded emergency departments. Emergency departments having to go on diversion because they can't keep up with their caseloads. Ambulances having to redirect patients to other facilities because where they wanted to go isn't open. So there was an identification about a year ago that there was a real problem here. The Healthcare Coalition worked with our hospital partners and our emergency departments to look at those occurrences and try to identify some solutions. And I think that one of the biggest steps that took place was the agreement of our hospitals to say, if we have to go on divert, we will only go on divert for an hour. And as a result of that, hospitals had to look at their internal processes to say, how can we operate if we can only go on divert for an hour when we still have patients going in? How do we manage our patients? How do we manage our patient flow? How do we manage our treatment given that scenario? So a lot of conversations took place. A lot of great work went into this. But if you can look and you can see the line, you can see the difference that this case study has worked with on diversion rates in Spokane County. You can see the blue line indicates the diversion rates for 2015. The red line is, or 2014, the red line is 2015. That tells you how many hours we spent in diversion for those given months. And then you can compare that to the diversion rates of 2016. And you can see that this effort has really impacted and lowered the amount of diversion hours that Spokane County is facing with their emergency department. So it's just a great piece of work, a great example of how the Hospitals and Healthcare Coalition came together to resolve an identified problem with a solution with a measurable result. So it's really exciting to see the work that's been done in our region. There are copies of this case study back on the table if you want to take a look at those to hear more about the process and the lessons learned. So it's pretty exciting to see the difference that work made. And it's really exciting just to see the work and the collaborations that went into making that happen with our healthcare system and our healthcare partners. So thank you for that. So our agenda today, now that I'm done rambling, we've got some great things on the agenda today, and I'm pretty excited about actually quite all of these. We're going to start you off with me. I apologize. Then we're gonna have Krista Arganchona from Sacred Heart is going to talk to us about the work that has been done in the past, the future, and what's there for the future as we look at highly pathogenic organisms and the unit that they've created and the way that it works. It's a phenomenal piece of work, a lot of work on a community level, and it's really astonishing that Providence Sacred Heart was willing to step up to the plate, take this on our behalf, not only for us here in Spokane and Washington, but the HRSA Region 10, which is Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and Alaska, to be the treatment center for highly pathogenic organisms throughout the region. So thank you for that, and we will hear from Krista about that work. We will also hear from Malia Noggle, if I got that right, I hope. She's epidemiologist from Spokane Regional Health District, and she's going to talk to us about the frontline readiness work that has been done with our rural hospitals and how maybe it all integrates together. So I think between the two of them, it's a great example of the work that we've moved forward on. Then we're going to take a step, a little different tangent, and Travis is going to update us on the transitions, the evolutions around the HPP program, where it's been, where it's going, where we think it is in the future, and talk about how that has impacted our work here at the local level. And it's pretty exciting. We have a lot of new faces. We have a lot of new work. So it's really exciting to see what that is going to be. Then we're going to close our agenda here for that portion of the meeting, and we'll transition quickly into our CMS work group activity. And as you recall the process that we've been working on with the CMS deliverables, we started off looking at emergency planning, policy development, and now we're looking at communication plans. So today we're going to spend a little time in our work groups. We're going to hear about some communication planning activities that have taken place at our hospitals from some great people. And then we're going to spend some time in our work groups talking about our communications plans that have been developed based on some of the 17 agencies, organizations that fit within the CMS rule. So it's pretty good work, been pretty successful. We'll spend about an hour at that. And as part of that, the other piece that goes to that I just saw down on the agenda, Casey is our new exercise training coordinator, and he's going to spend some time in that work group talking about his work in planning for a regional exercise, which we're breaking up into subregions, to meet our contract deliverable, but also helps to meet a lot of your agency's CMS deliverables as well as you look at exercises. So it's a lot of great work, to be done, and Casey's going to fill us in on all that work. So that's kind of a quick breakdown on our agenda. So with that, I'd like to introduce Krista. She is with Sacred Heart. She's assistant manager of the ICU Special Pathogens Unit, and I think it's a great place that you want to go visit and tour, but I hope we never have to actually use it.